Designing a product in itself is a challenge. There are many steps that we take at Hatch-22 to ensure a successful product launch. But with the global pandemic that has clouded 2020, we have seen shifts in the way we interact with our clients.
And even our own team. With design and product development being such a hands-on process, how do we maintain social distancing protocols and essentially do the job without being completely hands-on? We want to show you how our small yet mighty team of designers and engineers get it done.
Join us for an inside look at our design process and see how we overcame the struggles of designing during a global pandemic. This is Hatch-22.
Previously on Hatch-22, now things are in Emmy's hands, in my team's hands, and this is the phase of work where things starts to get real. We're likely going to build and validate, but before that, we're going to put together some ideas, put our heads together, and figure out how this is going to work.
So during phase 5, basically it's more or less usually the last phase in our industrial design phase, and that's where we finalize everything and get everything documented so that it's a really smooth transition for handoff, whether that's to a prototyper overseas or a contract manufacturer overseas or domestic. So what we do in this phase is essentially we prepare what's called a CMF document, and CMF stands for color, material, and finish. And this document is a pretty standardized documentation. It's done, a multitude of different ways, depending on what where you work and what your design team's processes are. But more or less, it's the same thing. It's a documentation that has renderings of the product, in full accurate color and photorealistic, finishes and materials of what the product is. So we basically have that document and we annotate it with specifications of, is this a plastic part? Is it ABS? Is it polycarbonate? And then we even spec the color. And so, we use, different color books. One system is Pantone, which is, pretty standardized across the industry. And we use that as a baseline, right? So we'll find a color chip that is as close as we can get to what we are imagining. And then obviously, we'll send that to the factory and we'll kind of tune that back and forth if need be. And then the last, let's call it the last 5% detail is the finishes. So we have a lot of texture books in our color materials and finishes library, and we'll spec, different finishes. So even though it's, matte or glossy, there's a lot of micro nuanced specified textures with numbers and numerical codes that we can actually specify so that the contract manufacturer or the tooling company can actually put that up into the tools and mold that texture.
Okay, so phase 5, after we built the first 3 initial prototypes, we realized that we didn't have enough fasteners to hold the main body together. And so we went back to the model and we proposed to ID team that we needed to add more fasteners, more holes that were visible. And of course we got pushback. But I think that was needed, to maintain compression.
Yeah, just to add on what Mike said, just in terms of being pretty happy with, again, you guys have to remember we are in a pandemic, still, and even though now we're filming this and we're vaccinated now, we've all been working remotely completely, shuffling things through couriers back and forth to each other, where social distancing, etc. So just the fact that we came all the way to phase 5, and anyone who's worked in hardware knows it's not perfect. Hardware is a bumpy, unlinear road, right? There's iterations and things that come up, stuff that happens, that unforeseen obstacles that come up, like the fastener thing, compromises to be made. And where we ended up, I think we're both pretty happy with the design.
It's been very exciting the last month to see all of the work from our team and the Hatch-22 team come together. The rubbish beam has been something we created because we were tired of bending down to pick up litter, but we still wanted to do it. So it's been incredible seeing this product that was in our minds come to life, and getting very excited coming up on Earth Day, because now we're able to share the idea and the concept with our partners. We're able to share it with folks like the Oakland A's or Apple, who have been with us along the journey and support cleaner neighborhoods, support cleaner streets. And we're just excited to share what we've come up with and have them join us for the ride.
So yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
And it's pretty on point. And actually, the screw bosses don't look as bad as we thought.
yeah.
Looks pretty good.
And
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, adding a couple more would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we added 3 more screw holes.
Like
right?
one here.
Right. We added, I think, 1 here, 1 up here,
Right.
and I think 1. We moved some of them around, and Felipe was able to accommodate those changes on the PCB board. I mean, the PCB board was really tight, right? Like all the components. We had a lot of keep out zones. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with the build. Everything seemed to work out fine. Like, we didn't have any failed posts or fastener, mounting points. All the mounting provisions remained intact. So this time around, we had a more robust material, and I think we're very pleased with the results. Yeah, I think when it comes to building prototypes, a collaborative environment is probably the best way to pull, to ensure that the prototype build is successful.
I mean, just from a design perspective, I think it's pretty successful in terms of highlighting like touch points, right? Like the pink shows you like where there's an action related to the pink trigger, related to the pink D-pad. So it's like all these touch points. It's all kind of like letting you know this is all an integrated system.
So I'm really happy with the final design. I think we came a long way. If you look at where we were from the beginning, which Rubbish did a great job of their MVP. I do believe that Hatch-22 took it to the next level, got it ready for scalability, and also just kind of refined it so that it really emphasized their brand. And so, on top of the functional aspects, which are important, ergonomics, manufacturability, and brand continuity and brand consistency. I think just the design looks really cool, and I think the team did an awesome job under the circumstances. Like working on multiple projects while in a pandemic, while collaborating remotely, not being able to necessarily sit side by side next to your engineers and designers. I think I'd say we're pretty successful, and I hope that Rubbish thinks the same.
Okay, I'm getting ready to see the rubbish beam for the first time. Let's see if Victoria's here. No, not yet. Well, I'm pretty excited. I brought my pop trash, which was my to-do list from yesterday. Oh, there we go. Alright. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Look at this box. Initial impressions, it's nothing lighter. than I expected it to be. It feels great. Wow. That actually feels great.
Nice. Look at that.
And
Deposited.
first piece of litter picked up with the new picker up. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Now for the moment of truth, the one-on-one comparison between the previous version of the beam, V6, and the newest one that we just got with Hatch-22, the V7. Straight out of the gate, I'll say that this one feels a lot better to hold. It's a lot lighter. The handle is a lot wider, and it just rests in your hand very naturally, especially in the downward position. One thing I did notice though is this one has a slightly lower reach, so I can grab that pretty easily. This takes a little bit more effort. It has about 2 inches less of reach from maybe even a couple more from where my hands are. So we're gonna have to fix that when we go into production and doing the final models. But other than that, this feels really good, real smooth. It looks great. Actually, they both look great. This is just a new take on it. It's not as jet black. It's a little friendlier with the pink accents here. Really helps make the thing pop even more. So looking forward to actually getting a couple of these puppies printed. All right. Does anyone have the final countdown? You could hum it.
Oh.
Look at that. It's just as bright as I imagined it.
Let's see.
Look at this
How is it
artisanal
hold?
craftsmanship. It holds great. Like
Yeah.
that. I was actually surprised. It looks heavier than the previous one, but the weight distribution is a lot better.
Is your forearm good? Like,
Forearm is
that was
good.
the part
Yeah.
I was really concerned about.
Forearm is good. Like, obviously, I didn't go out picking up litter with this yet, but it doesn't bother me, and it does feel a lot more ergonomic.
I think the best part is it looks like one kind of cohesive thing. It's not, all the buttons are internal. There's not wires running here and there, so it's like all integrated into one thing. It looks like an actual product. It was a good experience. I definitely think having Hatch-22 do both the ID and the ME stuff definitely smoothed out some of the transitions. We had some like transitional issues between electrical and mechanical, but I'm glad no issues like that popped up between ID and ME. They were able to just kind of sort all of that out themselves. So when working on a project like that, like having as much as you can together really makes the process easier.
We faced delays, we faced COVID, we faced trade embargoes and delays in shipments and breakage and all that. It was great that Hatch-22 was just able to roll with the punches and kind of guide us through it. So definitely appreciate that. Thanks Hatch-22, thanks John, Mike, and everybody else on the team.
I wanted to do a little bit of a reflection now that we have a final beam in hand, and kind of share that it feels very climactic to have something that we've spent numerous nights and days and weekends and weeks thinking about actually appear physically in our hands. We've made a lot of decisions to get it to this point, and it's really incredible to see it actualize. I hope the world understands our desire for a better community, better streets, healthier communities, healthier streets, and the mission here to change something that is a chore into something that is fun really stemmed from the belief that making it fun will change our approach. It will make us more aware, more eager to clean up after our neighbors or our fellow citizens. Very exciting, very grateful to have had Hatch Duo throughout all of this. And cheers to rubbish communities.
Who doesn't want to keep their community clean while, scoring points and earning free treats, right? Well, not free, but, it's in exchange for your time.
Yeah.
But, I am very interested still and very excited about how the data will be used for, garbage collection at a more micro level.
Yeah.
It's been great working with Rubbish. I think, they really are one of those startup teams that they really believe in what they're doing, right? They've built this venture that encourages people to not only think about the earth, but just like their surrounding community in a really fun way. We're super excited for them. We're proud to be partners with them, and so we're really excited. There's a lot of conversations happening with them right now that we can't talk about, but we're super excited. I think they're in their Kickstarter, they're going to kill it. If you haven't already, you should check out their Reddit thread. I mean, just organically on Reddit, I think they're one of the top posts or top topics. So yeah, we feel there's a lot of potential with their team, and we're just really excited to see them take off.